Hey, thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to discuss new builds on the Gold Coast and more specifically duplexes. We're going to discuss what they are, how they work, and stick around because we're actually going to go out and have a look at a few. And there are some fantastic new builds happening on the Gold Coast at the moment, and if you're thinking about a possible project, you're going to get some good ideas. All right, let's talk about what duplexes are. One of the difficult things about Queensland is that there isn't an overarching policy regarding duplexes as there are in some other states. Every different LGA, local government area, has their own town plan, which means that you've got different definitions across every LGA. And to make it more difficult, the term dual occupancy is generally used interchangeably with the term duplex. So what I'll do is I'm going to get the Gold Coast City Council definition on the screen for you now. Okay, a dual occupancy is made up of two dwellings, attached or unattached on a single property, previously called a duplex. So pretty straightforward. I want to make a quick note just about how the duplex process works. So what happens with a lot of these ones on the Gold Coast, you'll start off with a low density residential block, then put in for an MCU, a material change of use, which then means they can do the duplex. They'll start off with a standard block of land on one title, they'll then build the two separate dwellings and they will then strata title them. Once they're strata titled, that means they can then be sold off separately. And that's the big advantage of a duplex. You're also going to notice when we go out and have a look at these, there's going to be a lot of them which are on corner blocks and also blocks with wider frontages. And the Gold Coast City Council makes it a lot easier to either get approval for an MCU on a block on a corner or a block with wide frontage, and also blocks that are within a certain distance of a retail precinct. So that's why when we have a look at them, you're going to see that's basically where they are. I'm actually really excited. There are some fantastic new builds happening on the Gold Coast right now. So let's go out and have a look at a few. And what I might do to make it a little bit easier, to give you a really good idea of how duplexes work, I'm going to actually get the council map and we'll look at the top of it from the council map, and then we'll actually look at the house. And I'll talk you through some of the really good points about some of these builds. Okay, this one here's a really good example. It shows you just how a duplex works. So you can see clearly you've got the blocks either side, standard residential blocks of land, and then the one in the middle, two dwellings on the one block. Okay, and we're looking at this from the canal side. It looks fantastic. They are identical or mirror reversed, however you want to call it, but they look really good. This type of product is obviously a higher end build. It's something that you would see in Broadbeach waters, but it's not something that you'd see far out in one of the greenfield type developments. So you can do this type of project in this area without overcapitalising, and the end result is fantastic. We're now looking at it from the street. As you can see, it looks really, really good. A lot of street presence for the two-storey build. You can also see from this angle, it's only got the one crossover, the one driveway entrance onto the street for the two double garages. Parking is always a big issue here, which is why it's got two double garages, but what a great project. Okay, and next, again, we see two examples here where we've got one block of land, two builds. In this instance, as I mentioned, both of these are on corner blocks, which is far easier to get approval for under the Gold Coast City Council. This is a busy-ish street, I'd say, and they've done a pretty good job here of making the best use of the blocks of land. As you can see, these are definitely designed for the block. Two-storey again, which is something pretty common in the area of Broadbeach waters due to the land size. Okay, we're looking at the same spot again on the roundabout there, except this time we're looking at the other property. This is a different shaped block to the one across the road, so you'll see that these are done completely differently. however still designed specifically for the block. It's something really common, people asking to see plans for duplexes. However, with duplexes, it's really important that they are designed specifically for the block to make the best use of the block. You can see the privacy screening there, that's facing the western sun, so they put those on there to try and limit the sun exposure into those bedrooms. And again, we see the concept of the duplex again, where there's two buildings on the one block of land, clearly shown here. And again, we're looking at a corner block. As mentioned, they're much easier to get approval for. Just taking a little cruise in the drone. The footage doesn't really do it quite justice. It's actually a beautiful day here on the Gold Coast. I'm going to take you for a quick cruise across Broadbeach waters just to show you where this one is. So this one doesn't have full canal access, but it does have a strip of land which runs down to the canal at the back of it, which you'd probably see from the maps. Maybe not the most imaginative facade, however it does do the job. Definitely shows you the concept here, mirror reversed, so pretty much identical, or not quite mirror reversed, but very similar looking. We've got two accesses, so we've got access to one of the units from one street, access to another unit from the other street, which is something Gold Coast City Council always want you to do where possible. And here we go again, both corner lots, and both have that axe handle down to the canal, so not full canal access, but a strip of land which runs down to the canal, which is fairly common here in Broadbeach waters. These have got a really good modern look about them. They've done that very well. Used some good cladding materials so that the facades sort of really pop out, and they don't necessarily look like duplexes from the street, which is another thing that people are trying to get to happen, is that they don't just look like duplexes, they look like a high-end house. And still in the same spot, except now we're looking at the property across the road, which is, it's got them facing slightly differently. The other ones were facing west, these ones are facing north, but as you can see, fantastic looking modern builds. They've done a really good job of the design work and finished these off really well. And just going to pan around it with the drone here to give you a good look at how they look. So it's really important with your corner blocks, as these will show you that you don't just have a facade on one end, you've got a facade that wraps the whole way down that street, which means you've got to have at least 50% of your house looking really good from the street, and that's exactly what they've done here really well. Okay, again, looking from the Gold Coast City Council maps, you'll clearly see we've got the two buildings on the one block of land showing standard houses either side. This hasn't got the biggest street frontage, but they've done a good job of giving it some street presence. It looks as though we've just got two mirror reversed plans on here. They look really good. They've done a good job of the final finish here too. As we zoom in with the drone, you'll see they actually fit in really well with the brand new modern builds around the street. In fact, they enhance the area, which is one thing that a lot of people do duplex projects, and instead of enhancing it, they actually detract from the street. But these look really, really good. They've done a great job. And now looking from the drone again, but from the canal side, you can see this block a little bit of an odd shape, so it has less frontage at the street and then widens out as it goes to the back at the canal. So these designs have made the best use of the block. Really, really good job. And again, here's the concept clearly for you. We've got the two builds on the one block of land. Again, we've got the axe handle down to the water, which seems to be fairly common on the corner blocks here in Broadbeach Waters. And as we cruise across, you'll see these ones look really good from the street. Great street presence. Very large two-story builds. They've done a good job. You'll see again that they've got the separate crossovers and entrances. So one enters from one street, one enters from the other, which is something Gold Coast City Council really want you to do where possible. Just means you don't have driveways really close to each other. Also means parking is a bit better. But yeah, another good job. I do like the use of the stack of stone look that you can see there. It just breaks up that facade nicely. So another good example. Yeah, that's the angle there. You can see where they've got that stone look up the side to break up that, because it's a fairly long facade on that side of the house, but they've used that stone to break that up. They've done a good job. Looks fantastic. Okay, again, you'll see two builds on the one block of land. This one's not on the corner block, and it's not actually a wet block by the look of it. Doesn't have the canal access, but they've done a good job of this. Looks really good. So they've gone for that lightweight look, most likely a James Hardie type product, but it's really good, effective in this instance. Looking from the side there, you can see there's some nice articulation as you run down the side of the house. And I really like having that upstairs balcony there. Having an upstairs balcony there also helps you get your outdoor open spaces, which is something that's important that you really try and utilise in your design work. Okay, same concept again here. This block a little bit more difficult as you've got some decent street frontage, but it does narrow down as you go towards the back of the block. Looks fantastic from the street, and they've both got canal access as well, which you'll see in a minute. Okay, cruising across now with the drone, you'll see the canal in the back there, but you'll see they look really good from the street. Good street presence again. See the way that they've separated those two driveways so that you've got the crossovers at either side of the block, so that you've got some separation there of the cars at the front of the block. Narrows down a lot towards the back, but they've made probably the best use of that. And we'll just cruise back and have a look here. So very narrow designs at the back, but that's all they could do with that block of land. Okay, this one here, as you can see, is actually a triplex, not a duplex, but I thought we'd have a look at it as well. Concept pretty much the same, higher density on the one block, but they've done a good job of making these look good from the street. They take up that whole corner. Lots of architectural articulation as you go past it. You can see the outdoor area, al frescoes up on the top level, helping to meet the open space requirements of the duplex. But a really good finished product here. They've made the best use of that block, I think. 3 stories from the street. Another good example of what you could do with a block in this area. And finally, another example clearly shows the duplex and a couple around them where you've got 2 buildings on the one block of land. In the back of a cul-de-sac here, parking would be an issue in these types of properties, so it's only got the one crossover, and you wouldn't have room for more than one crossover due to the narrow block. But looks great from the street, very architectural and modern. Okay, thank you for watching. As always, if you've got any questions at all, email is on the bottom of the screen now, ask@newproperty.com.au. Shoot through your questions and one of the experts will come back to you as soon as we can. Thank you.